upwards and onwards, and let's talk about today's subject, making a scavenger hunt, but on the internet. Searching the internet, that's a pretty critical skill in this day and age. And, it's a good way to do it is to combine it with some fun. And so you sit down, folks, you give them a computer, you give them a device, and you say, let's find some things. But if you just say some things, it's not going to be targeted. So I'm proposing in this one, and maybe this is because of my long time working in self-advocacy, let's do E-Scavenger Hunt about people. With the wonderful commands that are on most devices and on Chrome and Google, you have voice input. So that's an easy way to do it, or you could type your question in. It's important, not everybody knows this, but when you're asking a question on a Google search engine, it's important to remember that you can refine and lower the number of results by putting quotation marks around your question, and using the ampersand, that little and sign, can also reduce the number of searches from 200,000 down to a reasonable couple of thousand. Just like reading skills, I notice, especially in some of the young people that we deal with, that unless you use your typing skills, you're going to lose them. So voice input, that's the easy way to do it. Or if you have problems with your speech, it may be a very hard way for you to do it. So it can't hurt to practice your typing skills. And I know some people look at a QWERTY keyboard that's not set up like the alphabet that they've learned for all these years in school, and it's intimidating at first, but if you get used to it, you'll get that muscle memory and it'll get easier and easier. Let's start off the E-Scavenger Hunt. The topic is about people. So we want during this exercise for you to teach folks how to copy and paste the web address so they can go back to it, how to bookmark a page in your browser, whether it's Safari, Chrome, or Firefox, and help them understand that searches aren't necessarily perfect. For any of us that go shopping on Google, you'll see so many results that are purchased ad results, and maybe they're not the best result. So you want to make sure that you give them some kind of orientation that search results may also include some advertised content. And like anybody else, people have to learn, especially the people we deal with, that they have to be critical thinkers. Just because it's on the web does not mean that it's true. So they have to kind of look at some of the results and see which ones will be helpful to them. And all of this, I realize in some cases, may involve a staff support person helping along, but that's why we're here. All right, first question on the E-Scavenger Hunt assignment is, what is self-advocacy? It's a nice, simple question. We type it in, and here's one of the first things that comes up. Rights Law, which is a special needs law firm advisory council, and it's a pretty good, simple definition of self-advocacy. Learning to speak up for yourself, making your own decisions, knowing your rights and responsibilities. And while your individual is doing this, you can have a conversation about these things. Really help them to understand what self-advocacy is. Below is an example of how you could ask them to find the site, but then below it, just copy that URL, theRightsLaw.com, so that they can go back to it. They can make a report with this. Question 2, how can I become more independent? So you type that into Google, you get a lot of things. A very simple one is WikiHow, that says that being independent is a vital skill for people who want to take more control of their lives. And I think we're dealing with a lot of folks that would like that, right? Especially those folks that have just transitioned from school. They're chomping at the bit to be an adult. So again, I put the URL at the bottom there. Question number 3. We throw this term around like crazy, but we have to remember some people still don't understand what person-centered means. So what does person-centered mean is the question. We go out to Google, we search it, and here's a very nice answer. It's ensuring that someone with a disability is at the center of their decisions. They're at the center of their life. It's not facility-based, it's person-based. It's going to make sure that each person is looked at as a decision maker, choosing their own goals, even as they evolve and change. So you can have these kind of discussions with the people that are using this and just say, hey, do you feel that, you make choices in your life, that you have a person-centered life? Any of us that are doing the CQL interviews, the POMS interviews, realize that lots of times there's some real issues regarding people having things decided for them, where they're going to program, where they're going to live. A lot of things in their lives are decided by caregivers rather than by themselves. And I can understand that at the beginning of a person's life when they're a youth, but we've got to make sure that they learn how to make choices. They're coming out of a background of a school setting where they didn't have a lot of choices, and teachers and parents were telling them everything to do. So here is a great lesson using an E-Scavenger Hunt on teaching people about person-centeredness and about self-advocacy. Let's go on. Everybody talks about the ADA. We see these parking spaces. We see these curb cuts. Does everybody really know what it is? Here you go. There's an ADA website, the ADA National Network, that gives you a pretty simple explanation. And we just had the anniversary of the ADA signing last week, so this is kind of appropriate. But it's important to educate people through this E-Scavenger Hunt process that, hey, the ADA is not just curb cuts, but if you go into a workplace and are looking for a job and you have the skills to do it, maybe you'll need a little bit of an accommodation to get the job done, but you can't be denied a job just because you have a disability. So this is something that is everyone's right, and they really should understand it. There's other ideas for or internet scavenger hunts at this Education World site. Lots of things about, they go by months, January, February, March, and they'll tell you all the things that are happening during those months. So there might be a Black History search during February. During July, there's something about July 4th. Those are all great things for any person that's in a day program to have something interesting to do. I was thinking, too, that we could expand this to take an e-shopping adventure in a grocery store. How cool would it be to say to somebody, all right, let's make a shopping list, and I want you to go on Google and find pictures of it. All right, you don't have to have any literacy to look at something and see what a ketchup bottle looks like. But when you're shopping out in the community, those are going to be important things to find out. Where is it in the store? What does it look like? You could do another whole session on e-community signs, hospital, police, exit, fire, whatever. All those things you can find in the Google image library. And for all of these things, there's another great resource, and that's another part of Google called YouTube. And we all know YouTube very well, but especially for people that may have some further literacy challenges, it's really a great thing to just take this e-scavenger hunt about people that we were doing and apply it to YouTube. There are so many videos about person-centered planning, self-advocacy, the ADA, all these great videos out there that it may connect with people even better than print because they're all part of this modern digital world. So take this scavenger hunt and use it in YouTube. And I think it'll be an interesting exercise.